The area in which you live tends to define the kind of art in which you produce. But the greatest act of creation is what the Lord can do. We're just kind of miniature gods, creating in our own little way. Just like God organized materials, we're just organizing materials and trying to put a spirit into them. The thing that I hadn't gotten in this painting first time around was that sense of space when you see things blue out in the distance. And it was just kind of a dark mass in there. And as I recall that day, that light was hitting so direct right on that plant. When I saw that thing, I said, I've got to do a painting of that. I'm not painting it exactly as I saw it. I'm probably painting it more like I want it to be. I grew up 23 miles, I think exactly, from Baker City, Oregon, on a cattle ranch, out in the middle of nowhere, really. I always had a proclivity toward art, and it became such a vital part of who I was growing up. I mean, we don't think of going out and looking at dirt and mud and saying, there's some beauty here. But the world is divine to me. There's just a spirit about things I want to experience. My parents actually instilled a lot of that in me when I was younger. There were higher ideals. I had no art background whatsoever. I grew up being a cowboy and didn't want to be one. I was because I had to, basically. We still irrigated the land by hand. We still fed the cows every morning and every night. It was so consuming that I thought, is this all I have to look forward to in my life? I wanted to be an artist. I didn't want to be a farmer. I never want my signature to overpower. That you kind of almost have to look for it. Okay, that's good enough. When I was 18 years old, I moved on, and a good friend of mine influenced me to come down to BYU. I loved it, and my dad grew up in an LDS family, but they weren't active LDS at all. So when I joined the church, it was a major change for me. And my head was flooded with symbolism. Myself and two others gathered a group of artists around us to try to elevate art to another level, what was considered as the art and belief movement, which was really a pure expression. And that's all you want, a pure expression of your belief. You've got to find balance in your life. And I was able to do that only because of my wife, Judy. Judy and I had such similar backgrounds. It just seemed very natural for us. When we got married, we had very little of anything. at BYU going through the couches trying to find money that's fallen out of somebody's pants pocket. Actually, I found out later her sisters were so sorry when she married me because they knew she was going to be poor the rest of her life. So here I am graduating from college. I'm going to face the world to be an artist now, and I know that I've got to make a living with this. You know, we were all struggling out there trying to figure out who we were and what we were going to do with it, and that's when I got drafted. This is unusual, being able to come out and experience this. We have such a wide open and beautiful area here. There's just so much to see. When I go out in something that has a stark contrast to it like this, the design of things becomes so obvious to me. The starkness just has its own special beauty to it. I take it to its basic element. This isn't a river anymore, and that's not snow over there. Those are elements of design. The dynamics of that fallen tree, it has a darkness about it that's running to that water, and it creates a whole nother shape back over here. And I see a composition. Art, for me, became a tool in which one has to put forth effort to feed a family and to get ahead in life. My direction in life was to be an artist. And then I got drafted during the Vietnam War. We'd been married 6 months and spent 18 months active duty in the Army. And all of a sudden, I get a directive that comes down saying, your military occupation is illustrator. And all I had was a ballpoint pen and just regular paper. I went to Korea for 6 months and did some harrowing stuff there. And that was a very sobering experience for me, because we did have a lot of communist infiltrators are coming in and were killing our people. Carrying that around with you day after day, it was difficult. And it's something you can't write home and tell your family about. When I got home, we had a 6-month-old daughter. It was a transition that I was very, very aware of. I was certainly on edge all the time. And just thinking about my life and really what I wanted from it. I'd never considered artist therapy, but it probably was. I can go in my studio and just forget myself. But with creative people, there is always this balancing act between self-expression and commercialism. I was very successful with commissions, but for me, I never did get to the core of what I was really looking for in my work. And I was dissatisfied with it. How far can you go in self-expression and starve and be happy with what you did? Or how far can you go with commercialism and be successful and financially well off, but unhappy with where your work is? Realizing where my life was going, and I could have been happy with that, but I knew I was not exploring what I wanted to explore. Just out of kind of more sheer desperation than anything, I got in my car, took my family to Oregon, and I spent about 4 days just walking the hills. I needed to explore my own home. I started looking at these great big open plowed fields. There was such a beauty in the way they were cultivated. And I said, you know, my roots are still here. And so I'm going to somehow try to commemorate that with my work. Tool of the Harvest, I was basically painting my life and what I was observing. I started going through these old family photos, and I found pictures of people working out in the land. And if you look at people outdoors with hats on, you just don't see a detail. So everyone kind of becomes symbolic. They would never consider themselves heroes at all. I wanted to pay homage to the people that really built America. I see my dad in that farmer more than anything. My dad was the catalyst for this painting. And this was the metaphor for all these fields. It's Alpha and Omega. It's the beginning of the harvest and the end of the harvest. The earth is really the source the Lord has given us for all life. We've had the most amazing blessings in our life. I give my faith and my belief a great deal of credence in how that's all come about.